Thank you very much, Ambassador. I hope you will forgive me if I do refer for a moment to the past. The last time I spoke in the Security Council was 21 years ago, when I outlined the dangers of disinformation and the impact this had for the security and livelihoods of the Iraqi people. I failed to make a difference. We all know what happened in Iraq and why it happened. It was then when I first interacted in Baghdad with a highly professional OPCW delegation, which had come at the request of the Secretary General Kofi Annan to close a UN disarmament laboratory under more than dubious circumstances. I appreciate the opportunity to participate today in this ARIA formula meeting on the unresolved Douma chemical weapons controversy. I want to assure you that I join this meeting with respect, with great respect for an organization to which I belonged 32 years and which I value deeply. I understand that you are representing governments while I represent only myself. There have been already a good number of ARIA meetings on Douma. It would be most unfortunate if a Douma fatigue sets in, since this most serious controversy has yet to be resolved through a unity of purpose, consistent with the principles, and may I, Ambassador, add the ethics of the United Nations Charter. The Douma debate is different from other UN debates, where year after year, a majority of member states adopts recommendations without being able to solve the issue. The controversy on the alleged use of chemical weapons in Douma has to do with the seemingly irreconcilable contradictions between denial and acknowledgement of facts, and the immediate impact this has on the security in the Middle East and elsewhere. Concerning the details and timelines for Douma, I would ask that you bear with me when I very briefly summarize what has become a reliable public platform of facts of international concern. The serious incident in Douma in April 2018 was followed by airstrikes involving 3 P5 members without, important to me as a former UN official, without Security Council consent. The strikes were justified as punitive measures for the alleged use by the Syrian Arab Republic of chemical weapons in Douma. A year later, a fact-finding mission report was published by OPCW providing exposed the allegation that chemical weapons had been used in Douma. The report did not reflect that, according to senior inspectors, there had been serious procedural irregularities and scientific flaws on how the investigation had arrived at its conclusions. Preceding the final report, an interim report became available in June 2018. The original draft referred to uncertainty about the use of chlorine agents. The redacted version, the manipulated version, however, indicated that reactive chlorine was present. We are told that some 50 civilians died in Douma, and yet the causes of their deaths remain unexplained. Going forward, these deaths must eventually be investigated as a potential war crime. The manner in which this serious controversy has been handled by OPCW management reflects the long-standing and systematic campaign that has sought to cover up any serious questioning of the OPCW through stonewalling and unacceptable smear tactics. Director General Arias is correct, I repeat, is correct in referring to the politicization of the chemical weapon debate, as he did yesterday at the EU Parliamentary Subcommittee on Security and Defense, pointing the finger at capitals of UN member states as the parties that have the responsibility to resolve this crisis. I do agree. It, however, does not dispense a Director General from his duties as a responsible manager of an important multilateral institution. At yesterday's EU hearings, which I viewed, he regrettably failed to answer precise and direct questions raised by members of the European Parliament regarding the Douma investigation. More generally, Ambassador and colleagues and members of the UN, senior OPCW management has refused repeated requests by dissenting inspectors to meet and review the Douma file. OPCW also ignored to respond to inquiries by outsiders, including members of parliament. A statement of concern was signed in March by 28 internationally known and respected men and women, including OPCW scientists. Coming from very different backgrounds, they had one thing in common: the demand for a transparent, independent, and accountable OPCW. The statement of concern was received by Director General Arias, but returned to the sender without comments. An unfortunate act, in my view, of humiliation for the 28 professionals who signed the agreement. I assume that the statement has also reached you, as it was sent to all 193 OPCW state parties, the Security Council, the General Assembly, and the Human Rights Council in Geneva. Let me interject here with some uneasiness, Ambassador. I have decided willingly to join those who want to defend the integrity of scientific research, the credibility of OPCW as an important global institution, and more specifically, to help in the protection of the right of dissent. To put it crudely to you, I'm nobody's useful idiot here. The Security Council cannot be surprised that there is an increasing public pressure, people pressure. We the peoples, remember the opening of the UN Charter, for UN leadership to find an unbiased resolution of this troubling controversy. In this spirit, I would ask for no more, but also for no less, that you accept what I have today as a voice of an outsider. Douma is, of course, about the protection of scientific evidence, but Douma is only part of a much bigger geopolitical confrontation. It is about honesty and the grave danger of politicization of facts. It's about preventing unfortunate precedents from replication. It's about the protection of individuals, revealing the truth. Nations and people alike must be protected from unsubstantiated claims. This demand is what motivates an increasing number of people in all parts of the world to prevail in making the case for truth about Douma. As a first step of redress and the healing of an institution, I would hope that statesmanship prevails in accepting facts and ending the defense of what has become indefendable. And that as members of the Security Council, especially the P5, your governments will use their collective influence next week at the forthcoming Conference of State Parties in The Hague to request OPCW's Director General Arias to provide a neutral forum. For example, the OPCW Scientific Advisory Board, or alternatively, an independent commission in which the concerns of all the OPCW investigators can be heard. A review, Ambassador, behind closed doors and without media, with results made public when a fully objective and scientific investigation of the Douma attack of 2018 has become available. Thank you. I just want to say a few things about the interim report in relationship to what the representatives of UN member states have said. If you take the before and after version of the interim report and you have in front of you clearest evidence of manipulation of an assessment made by credible scientists, as a normal individual who doesn't have to protect his or her government, I must tell you, I felt frightened because the evidence was so clear. I ask all of us, all of you, with respect, why can you not look at the material that Mr. Maté has put so well before us and look at that? If you think, please allow me to be open, if you think that it is simply defending the political interests of some particularly P5 members, you're mistaken. I don't come from that direction. All I want, and I think that's something where I will have and have a lot of support from the street, if you want, from the normal citizens around, is that the Security Council and the state parties take the courage and the time to look at material that is there to discover that we are not ill-led, manipulated individuals that are defending the political interests of some member states. This is rubbish. Forgive my strong language, but I'm very upset about that. The ARIA formula meeting that I have attended during the last 3 hours reminds me of the same approach, even though there was no ARIA formula in 2000, of what we heard coming out of the United Nations in New York about Iraq and the evilness of that regime. We did not defend Saddam Hussein. Neither do we defend today in what we have said and stated the current president of Damascus, of Syria. Two more things. Do you really believe that 28 individuals that decided with some courage? It's not easy, ambassadors, to swim against the stream, but they decided to swim against the stream because they wanted what did they want? They wanted truth. They wanted facts. Of course, we have heard many voices this afternoon or this morning of governments rightly stressing the need to protect the organization. I think there's a consensus about that. Everyone wants to protect the integrity of a multilateral organization that is so important as OPCW. But then give yourselves and the others a chance by doing what we have put before this meeting, where we have suggested that in a very non-ideological manner, but in the spirit of how a multilateral organization should function, then let your delegations that are talking in The Hague talk about the Director General to get the team together. Everybody, everyone, whoever had anything to do in the fact-finding missions with Douma, and it was about Douma. And if I have one disappointment about today's meeting, it is the fact that many delegations that spoke out totally missed the point. They talked about something they have said over and over, something went wrong. In saying something went wrong, nobody is saying on our side that we are defending Damascus. We are defending the truth and the integrity of OPCW, and I hope very much that you can come to that same conclusion by encouraging Dr. Arias to meet with everyone and come out with a revised report, not on any weapons misuse in Syria, but strictly and totally dealing with Douma. And then we are relieved. Who are we? We are normal people. We are not forced by anyone to talk and defend a position that is of interest to a particular government. Forgive me, I've spoken in not a very eloquent way, but this is what I wanted to say. And I wanted to thank the ambassador of Russia, the ambassador of China, for having taken this initiative that I'm sure was not very much favored by many whose voices we have heard this morning. Thank you.